In the small town of Stull, Kansas, there was once stood an old and one-room chapel on top of a hill, surrounded by graves. Beside the church was a cellar that was very difficult to find, and its doors had grass grown upon them. In front of the church was the great tree that was always there, but none of the town's members could recall ever having to see a leaf upon its branches. It's in the town's earliest years, before the Civil War, there were several farming families that lived there. The minister's daughter had fallen madly in love with a boy from nearby, but had her heart broken when that young man was discovered to have impregnated a certain flirtatious townsgirl, who the two were married. And all her revenge was the daughter saw them happy together, and her hatred blew until after 9 months of painful endurance, that despisal boiled over. Shortly after the young couple's child was born, from the minister's daughter went to their house. They greeted her cheerfully, but had not noticed until too late, until she eyed on the child bloodthirsty. She slit the throats of the two who had made her life so miserable, then dragged their bodies along with the newborn child up to the hill of the church. She put the bodies in the cellar and left the baby there, between their bodies, to starve to death. She locked the cellar door shut and took her own life on a tree right in front of the church. The bodies of the cellar were not found for 3 weeks. From that day on, the leaves never grow on that tree. If you walked to the graveyard late at night, you could just hear the sound of a baby's chilling cry. The townspeople burnt down the tree many years ago, in hopes of putting the minister's daughter's spirit to rest. And more certainly, the church collapsed onto itself, burying the already difficult to find down cellar. Many have looked for its doors, but after a few who have found them and ventured beneath the depths have seldom returned, with the exception of a few who came back into the sunlight after 3 weeks beneath, starved nearly to death, and covered in blood that was not their own. And that, my little pretties, was The Church Cellar, a church creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story? I gotta say, when I say this right now, that this story was a short story, yes, but it was still some very enjoyable story. At least to my honest opinion, as best as I can definitely say. Now, I've seen a few people narrate this story, such as Seabass, which he narrated this story, yet not too long ago, as well as the Church Cellar, which Silverheart19 also narrated, as well as Mr. Strange Tony. I mean, I'm gonna be honest that this, despite it being short, it was still a very rather good creepypasta. I mean, it has this background story about, this girl's daughter, well, this person's daughter who ends up, killing somebody that she really wanted to be together, but unfortunately this man she wanted to be with went with another woman, have a family of their own, and she basically ruined their lives, like killing them, basically. It's very messed up that she took her own life afterwards, so I can understand, why as if she, did that, because she was guilty of all the stuff she's done, and she's not happy of it. I mean, very messed up in detail, yes, but the concept of itself still remained amazing. Like, I mean, the sentence structure was alright. There were run-on sentences in this story. Like, I mean, there were places where should have had a period, places that should have been commas. Wait a second. Oh yeah, I mean, the sentence structure was alright. I mean, I did spot a couple of run-on sentences. So there was like a couple of places where periods should have been commas, or commas should have been periods or something. So the story was a bit difficult for me to read partway through, but I could definitely say right now that the original story is it being pretty interesting for, what it is. Like, it was really well made, and it actually hooked me on to the story of, what happens in that, and that the ending is no one can, if everyone finds it really hard to, find the cellar and all that. It's pretty freaky. I'm not denying that one bit. So, yeah. It's a really good story. It's definitely well made. I definitely would recommend you check out this story if you haven't. It's a pretty good story. I'm not going to lie. You'll definitely really enjoy how this story went out. It's on the regular Creepypasta Wiki, so I recommend you guys checking it out. So, I guess with that being the case, and with that being said, I'm going to sit here and say this now. Now, like I'm going to say, this is simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these, creepypastas, and this is simply my own first personal thoughts. Before I do continue, I want to say I don't know who the original author of this story really is, so I'm going to leave this as anonymous for now. If I ever find out who the original author of the story is, I'll be sure to give the author proper credit, because as of now, I can't really say who the original author of this story is, so yeah, I'm going to state this as anonymous until something else, until if I manage to find the author of this story. So, anyways, with that being said, my final rating is a 10 out of 10. Pretty good story, although it was short. Still didn't, have a really good explanation at times. I mean, it wasn't really that bad or, completely all over the place in that, but it was definitely was that. So, yeah, that's one of the things I kind of want to state. But yes, I did want to state it. So, yeah. Anyways, I think with that being the case, so with that being said, what did you guys think about this creepypasta? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Anyways, feel free to leave me what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're brand new here to this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss the upload. And as always, please roll the outro, because I'm out.